Thank you, Kitonga. Thank you, Kenyans. The Devolution Conference, which is targeted for 4th to 8th the next month, is principally the 6th conference annually. Counties or the country holds a Devolution Conference, principally to review the performance of the counties over the period.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe from your perspective so far, how would you rate the performance so far of and I know this is very general, so maybe let's just be specific with Kirinyaga. How would you review the performance of Kirinyaga in terms of devolution? How have you done in Kirinyaga County?
I think we are coming up well. I would say that we have had a transition. You know, everything new has its own challenges. But I must say that we hope and we have the potential to do better than what is it that we are doing.
Do you feel that the people of Kirinyaga feel devolution has reached them? And what are some of the tangible things that you'd say this has happened specifically because of devolution?
Specifically because of devolution, I would say that there is some way of involvement of the Wajiko in participating in some of the issues that they want to get developed, to get development. I would also say that in terms of reaching or going to authorities where development is decided, I think there is closeness to where resources are, instead of previously where they were relying on all the way from the ministries or in the national government. But having said that, I think we can do better than what is it that we are doing, more so in terms of involving Wajiko in determining what is it that Wajiko needs.
How has Kirinyaga County done that? I know the kinds of Makueni County. There are several projects that they have literally had citizen participation, and out of citizen participation, they've come up with projects. For instance, the factory where they're doing mangoes. Is there anything like that in Kirinyaga? What are some of the projects that have come up out of participation of citizens?
One of the areas Kirinyaga has, I think the county government, the previous one and the current one have done, is especially on the issues of budgets. I have seen, and these are issues that we'll also be checking during the budget preparation period. The county government goes around taking the views of Wajiko.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you are a member of the County Public Accounts and Investments Committee, which is tasked with auditing the counties to how they utilize their funds. Your comments, first of all, before maybe we go into details of how counties have utilized their funds. Because one of the issues that many Kenyans would feel we have had with the funds is the fact that it's misappropriated.
Like I said, we were on a transition, and there is a very big room for improvement. Like you have mentioned, I'm a member of that committee, and one of the issues that worries me, we have looked at so many accounts, audited accounts, and there is no one account, one county that's come out clean. More often than not, we have, including Kirinyaga, adverse opinion from an auditor general is something to worry about. From where I sit, and having come from sectors where you must make sure that you don't get disclaimer, adverse opinion, qualified accounts, you know, it's not a healthy way of looking at the results of what is it that you have been doing. So I must say that on that note, the previous, especially from 2013 to 2015, 2016, where we are now currently looking at the accounts, the county governments have not performed to the expectations. You can't sleep with a disclaimer from the Auditor General as an opinion.
And where exactly is the problem? Because the Auditor General has come out and given out his report, which of course leaves very many question marks. You are in the Committee in Public Accounts, and I know you've summoned several governors to come to appear before the committee. What do you feel is the problem? And when you summon them, what is it that you expect to get out of them?
When like for instance, we did about 17 summons in the last session, and one of the issues is that we want them to come and explain the gaps between all the issues raised by the Auditor General, so that we can also give them a view. We are their arbitrators. We want to give them a chance to explain There was a process. By the way, there is a very clear process on the audit, about the audit. There is the entry meeting, there is a management letter, there is a draft accounts, and then there is a final exit meeting. So by the time you get a disclaimer opinion, or you have issues, it means that somebody somewhere did not do their work. And so we call the governors to come and tell us, here is what the Auditor General said. Here is what, so what is your view about this? And we, in between, we make our report. And I can tell you, for the few that we have done, we have said that people to be held responsible.
Okay.
And we have several.
And that right there becomes now the bone of contention, because we always end there as Kenyans.
Yeah.
People must be held responsible, but we don't see anybody held responsible. Is the Senate or the committee looking at ways that they can actualize that statement, other than just leave it at there? People must be held responsible.
I want to agree with you that in terms of implementation, this general, including in the national government, where the rubber meets the tarmac, I think we have a problem. That is in terms of implementing the recommendations of any committee, including even when the National Assembly looks at the national government issues. The implementation bit, or holding people accountable, leaves a lot to be desired. But I think with the new vigor that the presidency has come up, and we are seeing a lot of fighting corruption, some of the issues to be picked are the issues that come up out of the Auditor General report. Gitoka, if you remember, there was previously, even the previous regimes, even before it became multi-party, the Auditor General used to raise a lot of issues. But I believe very few cases have materialized out of the Auditor General.
What is the problem then? Because then the fact that other jurisdictions or other regimes had the same problem doesn't make it right.
I think we need to see how, one of the challenges is that most of the things that we do, even in that committee, and even in other people who look at the audited, is we are more of morticians. You know, the patient has come, the patient has died, and you are trying to diagnose what is happening to what killed the patient. By that time, it could be 5-10 years down the line. Like when we are looking at 2013, 2014 accounts, probably one of the guys who was affected is a senator or a member of parliament, or is a CS or something like that. So you realize that when it comes to implementation or to taking action, there is a challenge. I think one of the things that we need to do is to be current and try to do more of, like in the committee, and the chair of the committee has emphasized this, is that we need to look at performance audit, where we look at the current issues and the value for money. That is the only way we'll be able to proactively stop some of the issues that arise out of the auditors.
Are these issues that are likely to be tackled in the conference?
The theme of the conference, I like it, is because the theme is threefold. We are talking about deliver, transform, measure, and remaining accountable.
Right.
I like the last one of remaining accountable. Yes, I like the last one, because that is where the rubber meets
the road.
And that is where there is a big challenge of how do we utilize, how do they, you know, one of the things that we need to understand is that the money that is allocated or taken to the counties, or for that matter given to the national government, is nobody's money. It's the taxpayers' money. And the best is value for money. Value for money. Yes. Okay.
And do you feel that the committee has done their work in terms of, because one of the things that you as senators are given is the position of oversight.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you've done that effectively?
I must say we haven't done it effectively, because like in that committee, the RAS Parliament, the RAS Senate, was stopped. There was a lot of court issues, so they never looked at the audited account. So we have a lot of backlog in terms of looking at the audited accounts. And one of the things that we have done is to expedite, look at the methods. You know, we are thinking wildly and saying, let's look at the ways of being current so that we can be able to be proactive. We want to be physicians. General physicians, that we can be able to look at the current governor. What is it that you are doing? Are there issues coming up? We stop them, we nip them before they
what are some of the challenges that we possibly have faced as a Senate when it comes to the issue of oversight?
One of the biggest challenges is that in terms of the the mechanism and the resources and the tools. Because, like, for instance, in Kirinyaga, there are four constituencies. Unless, of course, I sometimes use my resources to move around and do stakeholders, because we need feedback, we need mechanisms. I think, and the Senate is coming up with a committee to try and come up with some methodology of oversight. And maybe soon we will have, because it has to be methodological. We have to have systems. You know, we need a scientific way of saying, this is the way we did it, this is the way it goes. And the best that can happen is we need to hold stakeholders forums, we need to fight from Wajiko, and we need to give feedback. The other thing is that sometimes when we talk as senators and we raise issues and we say that, some people think that we are fighting the governor. Apparently our work is to air out issues that are not going well.
And one might say and argue that it's taking rather long. Devolution now is not something new. We are now into a different phase of it, and it's taking rather long to get those structures into place. Meanwhile, there is plunder, there is corruption, there is misuse of public funds on the county level.
I want to agree with you that probably it has taken a bit of time to get there. But with the current, in fact, last weekend, the Senate leadership was in a retreat just to sort out some of these issues and to clearly state the roadmap on the ways of oversight. So and I can tell you, moving forward, several issues are going to low. Like, for instance, we'll be going to the counties, even the committees. Let's go into the counties and engage, you know, it's an open session, so that everybody, the stakeholders in the county, would be able to understand and be able to even to give us feedback of what is it that we are going. So the leadership of the Senate has agreed, and I know it will be actualized, that the committees must get out. We go out there, we deal with the issues out there as a committee.
How are you going to do that? How is that going to be any different? Because if they've not been dealt with so far, how is the conference going to address that?
I'm not talking about the conference. I'm talking about committees of the Senate. Remember, we are in a committee system where we have, like I share, the Trade, Tourism and Manufacturing Committee, but as a member of County Public Account and Investment Committee. So the County Public and Account Investment Committee will go to Kirinyaga, and that is where we will sit down with the governor and deal with the issues in front of the Kirinyagan people. Probably is a deterrent measure, because probably not everybody knows what is it that happens. You know, there is the perception issue that these guys have come and they are questioning issues. And probably some of the people who fear to give feedback on some of the issues that they think are going wrong, they will have the confidence to be able to hear.
All right, what are some of the structures? We'll come to the conference in a bit, but I just want to know now from Kirinyaga perspective, what are some of the structures that you have put in place as a county government to ensure that corruption is not something that will be had in that area? Because it's a general cancer that is in all counties, and I'm sure, like you mentioned earlier, Kirinyaga is not left out. But what structures are you putting in place to ensure that corruption is a thing of the past?
I can only say, as an oversighter, I wouldn't want to mention to say what the county government itself is doing. I would be saying, from where I sit, the best that we will be trying to do is to put in structures. We have 20 counties, and the first line of the supervision or oversight is the county assemblies, and I believe the county assembly is doing well in terms of trying to highlight on the issues that are not going right, because you weigh up, you raise issues, and you take them to the government, to the county government, so that you tell them these things are not going right.
They're not going right.
And if there are mechanisms, if that one is not going on, you can make a petition to the Senate, so that the Senate intervenes. You, through the senator, you can also call in the Auditor General immediately to come and do a current audit on some issues. So from where I sit as from the Senator's office, I have put in my staff, the skeleton staff that I have in. Yeah, we have 5 sub-counties. So in every sub-counties, I have people collating data and trying to look at the current issues and what is happening. So what we'll do is, and I want to use the Senate committees, like the Agriculture Committee, the Roads Committee, the Health Committee, so that I go with the committees and we are able to address issues, so that there is no personalizing of issues.
All right, we're going to take a short break, Senator, but when we come back, we're going to mainly focus on the Devolution Conference that is coming up, and you'll give us details on that. So for now, we take a